Ottoman Empire had been the strongest force in the Middle East. In 1451, the empire consisted mainly of a few lands between the Black and Mediterranean seas. By the year 1683, the Islamic government controlled land stretching into Europe, Asia, and northern Africa. However, the Ottomans gradually lost the majority of their land, and by 1914 the empire was suffering and Turkey was regarded throughout the world as the sick man of Europe. Through these difficult years before the empire's collapse, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, Turkey's future founder and liberator, was born. Ataturk was born in the spring of 1881 in the town of Salonika in present-day Greece. At the age of 5, his parents Ali Riza and Zubayda Hanım decided to send him to religious school and later the local public school. At an early age, Mustafa showed signs of leadership and always longed to look like his modern, westernized neighbors. At the age of 7, Mustafa enrolled in the military cadet school in Istanbul. It was at this school that one of Mustafa's teachers gave him the name Kemal, which means perfect. It was at the military school that he developed an opinion of disapproval towards the Sultan and the Ottoman regime. Soon, Mustafa Kemal joined the Committee of Union and Progress, an anti-Sultan group, and became an important member. While active in this group, he was able to grow as a leader and progress as an important man in history. In 1914, World War I broke out and the Ottoman Empire aided Germany. Ataturk was assigned to the 19th Division in Istanbul and won his first victory against the enemies at Gallipoli. Although Mustafa Kemal continued to succeed in his battles, the Germans were losing the war. As the war progressed, Britain wanted to be the superpower of the region. They began negotiating deals with the Arabs, French, and Italians, secretly promising land in return for the revolt against the Ottoman Empire. In October 1918, the war ended, and on August 10, 1920, the Treaty of Sevres was signed, officially ending Ottoman rule. Eastern Turkey was given to the Greeks, and southwestern Turkey was split between the British and the French. Anatolia was the only land left to the Ottoman Empire. The Turkish people first began the road to triumph in 1920. On April 23, 1920, the Turkish nationalists opened the Grand National Assembly, a new parliament in Ankara, which was pronounced the nation's new capital. Mustafa Kemal was elected president of the Grand National Assembly on April 24, 1920. After World War I, the Turkish people fought a 3-year war of independence against Greece, Britain, and France. In spite of the boundaries set at the Treaty of Sevres, these countries continued to pursue the Ottoman lands. The new assembly immediately realized their first duty was to stop the foreign occupation in Turkey. Turkey was formally recognized as an independent nation on July 24, 1923, when the Treaty of Lausanne was signed, officially ending the Turkish War of Independence. The Turks formally announced themselves as a republic on October 29, 1923. The Ataturk Revolution began soon after the war, and the new government, with Ataturk's guidance, started to reform every aspect of Turkish culture and life. The first steps to modernization occurred when the National Assembly forced the elimination of the Sultanate, or Ottoman government, in 1922. Mustafa Kemal and the Grand National Assembly reinforced the new legal system in 1920. They abolished canon law, the Islamic laws governing the people at the time, and enforced new systems adopted from other countries such as Switzerland and Italy. Mustafa's most important goal was to westernize the Turks, instill new social reforms, and create a new identity for Turkey. One of his first social reforms was of clothing and headgear in 1925. Under Ottoman rule, women were required to wear veils covering their heads and bodies in public. Men wore fez. Under the clothing reform, men stopped wearing the fez and turned to more modern Western-style hats, and women discarded their veils and began wearing modern European fashions. To this day, women cannot hold government office or attend a university with the headscarf on. Turks adopted the international calendar, time, and measurements in 1931. One of the most significant reforms made in Turkey was the language and alphabet reform. For centuries, Turks had spoken a form of Turkish and Arabic. In 1928, the Grand National Assembly abolished the old Arabic alphabet and enforced a new Latin alphabet better complementing the Turkish language. Ataturk founded a new Turkish Language Association in 1923. This association consisted of scholars who purified the Turkish language, substituting old Arabic words for new Turkish words. Ataturk was told by this association that the language reform would take up to 5 years to enforce. Ataturk would hear of no such thing. He personally traveled throughout the country, taught the Turkish people on chalkboards in parks and other public places, and within only a few months, a majority of the Turkish population was fluent in the new language. It was in 1934 that the surname law was passed, and the Grand National Assembly presented Mustafa Kemal with the name Ataturk, meaning father of the Turks. Ataturk had a special love for children. He believed that children held the key to Turkey's future and pushed for better education in the country to prepare the children for the future. He closed all religious schools used during the Ottoman Empire and required all children to attend the new, free, secular, and co-educational public schools. Thanks to Ataturk, Turkish women could proudly declare that they were one of the few who were seen equal to men and had rights in the early 1900s. Women were officially given equal rights in divorce, custody, and inheritance in the Civil Code of 1926. Women were allowed to vote, and in 1930, 18 women were elected into parliament. Ataturk was a determined and hard-working man full of energy. In October 1933, he gave his 10-year speech marking the 10th anniversary of the Turkish Republic. He spoke of his pride for the Turkish nation and the accomplishments they had achieved since 1923.
Bugün Cumhuriyetimizin 10. yılını doldurdu. En büyük bayramdır. Kutlu olsun.
On November 10, 1938, after years of drinking and a deadly liver disease, the father of the Turks passed away at the age of 58 in his Istanbul palace. For weeks, the Turkish people mourned the loss of their great leader. Crowds from all over Turkey came to pay their respects, and on November 19th, Ataturk's coffin began its slow journey to the capital city of Ankara. After 15 years, he was laid to rest in a museum dedicated to him in Ankara. Ataturk had turned the sick man of Europe into a new modern nation. His dreams of social equality, cultural diversity and awareness, and modernization had been achieved. The tragedy of the fall of the Ottoman Empire left Turkey in a state of confusion and turmoil. Ataturk emerged in a time when Turks were in desperate need of help. He held faith in his country and guided them through reforms that would affect generations to come. Today, Ataturk is still regarded as a great leader and is respected deeply by the Turkish people. His pictures can be seen hanging in restaurants and other public places throughout Turkey. Each year at 9:05, the time of his death, the Turkish people stop and stand motionless in respect for their first president. After his death, Turkey continued his reforms and worked toward greater modernization. Today, his work can be classified as Kemalism or Ataturkism. The 6 arrows or fundamentals of Kemalism include republicanism, populism, secularism, nationalism, and statism. If Ataturk hadn't taken control of Turkey in the early 1900s, it would not be the country it is today. Turkey proudly owes all of their triumph and success to this determined, genius man.